As we traveled from Kyoto to Okayama with only carry-on luggage, we had the perfect opportunity to stop along the way in Himeji to explore the town and, of course, its famous castle. Himeji Station itself has a surprisingly quaint feel, even though it's surrounded by a massive shopping complex. The station is spread across 2 levels, with the lower level featuring a waiting area and some interesting local displays. Among those displays were 2 mikoshi from Himeji's famous Nara no Kenka Matsuri, the city's intense fighting festival held each October, where portable shrines are carried and sometimes even crashed together as part of a Shinto ritual for good harvests and prosperity. There's also a small-scale model of Himeji Castle and its grounds, which gives you a great sense of just how large and complex the site really is before you even step outside. And thankfully, the station also has plenty of coin lockers, so we were able to store our carry-on luggage right here for the day without any trouble at all. So we're here in Himeji, the castle's that way, the station's that way, and there's like these really neat shotengai all around the sides, which I didn't realize. They look fun. We're gonna try that later. We're gonna go to the castle first and get that out of the way, and then we will come back at our own leisurely pace and do that before moving on to Okayama to our hotel for the night. Today we found Mecca for all of you celiacs out there. There's my husband at the rice flour taiyaki stand in Himeji, and we're both getting red bean and custard. Neither of us is too crazy about chocolate, but those are the 3 kinds they have, and it's about 2/3 of the way to the castle, I'd say, in a truck. Don't know if there's a permanent one at the end. I think there might be. Just a couple blocks up and to the right from the main street where their sister truck usually hangs out, the rice flour taiyaki shop is a must-stop. The truck has the classics, custard, chocolate, and red bean, but the shop goes further with flavors like chestnut, pistachio, strawberry, and matcha. Made with 100% rice flour, they're totally safe for celiacs and anyone avoiding wheat. Plus, crispy on the outside, chewy on the inside, and honestly way better than the wheat version. So here we are with our rice flour taiyaki. They're nice and warm on this kind of cloudy day. This celiac back here, he's a happy boy now. They are crunchy and beautiful. This is the red bean. We're gonna try the custard second, and we'll probably get more. So here we are, and that's Himeji Castle. We still got a long walk on our hands. The area around this has a lot of souvenir shops and that sort of thing, and we're gonna head up in just a minute. The wide moat ahead is one of Himeji Castle's original defenses, completed in the early 1600s during the Great Expansion under Lord Ikeda Terumasa. Fed by nearby waterways, it was designed to slow attackers, expose movement, and protect the fortress long before anyone had reached the walls. Over time, this defensive barrier became something else. Herons wade along the edges, ducks drift across the surface, and birds move through the trees, living echoes of the castle's nickname, the White Heron. The bridge ahead spans this waterline, once a controlled crossing point in times of danger. Beyond it rises the massive gate, marking the true entrance to the castle grounds, the moment where the open world gives way to stone, strategy, and the ascent toward the keep above. Now that you've crossed the moat and stepped onto the castle grounds, take in this open space below the keep, historically part of the San Nomaru, the 3rd bailey of Himeji Castle. This broad approach was once an open buffer zone, giving defenders clear sightlines in every direction, and visitors today an unobstructed view of the towering keep above. Here, pathways meander beneath unique trees, from pines and maples to flowering cherry trees that draw crowds in spring, framing the breathtaking view of the massive white tower on the hill. To your side, the grounds stretch out like a living landscape, blending historic castle town space with gardens and green areas that have expanded over centuries of change. Let your eyes wander upward. This vista, beautiful and picturesque, was intentionally designed to both awe and guide you toward the heart of the fortress ahead.
This is very steep. It doesn't look steep on camera, but it is. when I turn around. Now,
this inner body of water is part of Himeji Castle's inner moat system, known as the Sangoku Bori. Built in the early 1600s, it served both as a defensive barrier and as a vital water reservoir for fire prevention inside the castle grounds. What looks like a quiet pond today once played a critical role in protecting the fortress at its most vulnerable inner levels. As we enter the Ninomaru, the second bailey of Himeji Castle, we step into a space that was home to important retainers, administrative offices, and storage for weapons and supplies, a functional hub supporting the life and defense of the castle. The paths here twist and narrow, intentionally designed to slow movement and confuse any approaching enemy, with gates and walls placed to maximize control. Look closely at the surrounding walls and you'll see circular, square, and rectangular openings known as sama, used for firing arrows, matchlock guns, or dropping stones on attackers below. Every turn and threshold reflects careful planning, balancing everyday activity with constant military readiness. And to our side, the inner moat and fence line quietly mark the edge of this bailey, providing a final layer of protection between the Ninomaru and the Honmaru, the castle's heart. At long last, we reach the Honmaru, the innermost bailey and true heart of Himeji Castle. Passing beneath massive stone foundations, you enter the most heavily protected zone, one reserved for the Lord and the main keep itself. These towering stone walls were engineered to resist siege, fire, and collapse, supporting the fortress above while making the final threshold of the castle's defenses. Beside the castle walls lies the Kokoen, Himeji's inner garden, designed in traditional Edo style to soften the fortress with nature. In spring, cherry blossoms and fresh green maples frame the white keep beautifully. It's also a practical pause for visitors. There's a restroom here, best used before entering the castle and beginning the long climb inside. Before stepping inside, remember that, like most indoor spaces in Japan, shoes must be removed. You're given a plastic bag to carry them as you climb the steep wooden floors of the keep, preserving these centuries-old timbers with every careful step. Himeji's main keep may look like 5 stories from the outside, but inside it rises through 7 levels, a basement and 6 upper floors, each built with both function and defense in mind. The basement once held practical spaces like a wash area, lavatories, and even a kitchen corridor tucked into the stone foundation. Stepping onto the first floor, imagine the so-called 1,000-mat room, once covered with over 330 tatami mats and lined with racks for spears and guns. Today these furnishings are gone, but the dim light and the flicker of lanterns bring the space alive, evoking the rhythms of daily life in a castle long before electricity. The shadows, the quiet, and the heavy wooden beams overhead make it easy to step back in time and feel the castle as it was centuries ago. The stairs up to the second floor are steep and narrow, twisting upward as Japanese castles were designed to slow movement and give defenders an advantage. Every step brings you closer to the heart of the keep. Here, narrow windows punctuate the walls, some serving as lookouts, others as sama, openings for arrows or matchlock guns, letting defenders observe or repel attackers while remaining protected. Above, massive hand-hewn beams form the skeleton of the castle. Joined without nails, they support the upper floors and roof, while allowing the keep to endure centuries of use, giving the interior both strength and an unmistakable sense of history overhead. As you climb higher up through the castle, these sama openings evolve into small A-frame nooks tucked into the walls, but they serve the same purpose. From here, samurai could keep watch for approaching enemies and fire arrows or guns, all while staying protected inside. Today they feel like quiet little nooks where you can pause and take in the view, but during the castle's active days, this was a true frontline defensive position, an elegant blend of beauty and serious military strategy. Himeji Castle's main keep stands 6 stories tall, plus a basement, and apparently every single stair was designed to test your life choices. As you climb higher, the steps get steeper, narrower, and the ceilings lower, to the point where you're basically climbing ladders while ducking for your life.
Yeah, just walk up this next set of stairs, it's all good.
Watch your head.
And it's getting short. A lot of short people.
It's not just for fun. This was all intentional, meant to slow down invading enemies. Turns out, it works just as well on tourists. The upper floors weren't for comfort either. These wide, open wooden spaces stored weapons and supplies, and gave defenders room to move and coordinate during battle. You'll even spot racks where spears and guns were kept, ready to be passed out in a hurry. At the very top, there's a small shrine dedicated to the castle's guardian spirit, a peaceful little reward after the climb. And by the time we made it up there, let's just say the samurai probably handled it better than we did.
Oh God, bend down.
I can barely fit.
Seriously. I don't know if you guys could see that one, but it was about 4 feet high. Oh, yeah. And here we are at the top. Okay, I'd like to announce that we're at the top. Right? There's no more? That looks like the top. Oh my gosh. The last one, I think so. We're at an elevation of about 14,000 feet.
Yeah.
I'm 5'6" and I had a duck, and you
I had to pull
barely
my arms in.
You barely fit.
It was like an MRI.
But it is pretty neat up here, so we'll have a little look around.
So, is Himeji doable in a day? Absolutely. But after spending time here, I kind of wish we'd planned a night. There's more to this town than just the castle. And was it worth going inside? Honestly, the interior is pretty minimal. The floors are similar, the climb is steep, and there's not a lot of decoration. The real magic of Himeji Castle is on the outside. Those iconic white walls and perfect views are what make it special. If you had to skip going inside, you wouldn't be missing everything. And to be fair, the views from the top are pretty rewarding. Thanks for joining us, and stay tuned for more videos from Japan and beyond. Don't forget to like and subscribe.